Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. College football week 13, last week before we get into the conference championships. So last week of the regular season, so to speak. So a lot of games going on Thursday, a bunch on Black Friday, and then we're going to get into the Saturday slate as we've went over the Thursday, Friday, actually Tuesday, Thursday, Friday plays in previous episodes. So it's time to move on to Saturday. The game, as they call it, or the game of the day, the game of the year, the game. What are you going to call it, right? So Ohio State, Michigan, at Michigan, 3 to 3.5 point favorite for Michigan. Total around 46.5, 47. Break this game down the best way we can. This is the best Ohio State defense in the last 5 years, probably at least. This is the worst Ohio State offense in the last couple years for sure. But McCord has looked better, but against Patsy's the last few weeks. Marvin Harrison's probably the best player in this game over the last few years. Marvin Harrison Jr., absolute stud. But the one thing that remains the same is going to be the offense and defensive lines for the Michigan Wolverines, and how are they going to be able to run the ball. Not sure who's going to win this game. I think Michigan, but I think it could be close, unlike the last couple years where the Michigan's blown them out. But we do we're not going to take a side on this particular matchup. I think we're going to sit back and probably enjoy a little bit more. But we do have one play in this game or I should say one angle, and that's going to be the under. And the line keeps going up. So we are going to take under 9.5 total first quarter, under 23.5 total first half, and under 47 for the game. If this gets up to 48, we're probably going to go back and hammer again, just because 48, 49 are such key numbers. But Michigan, Ohio State under 9.5 total first quarter, under 23.5 total first half, and under 47 for the game. Should be one whale of game. It should determine which team obviously is going to the Big Ten championship to play Iowa, which either team should destroy Iowa, as Iowa has no offense, as they only put up a measly 13 points against Nebraska today. But we shall see, and then punch their ticket into the college football playoff, as it should only be realistically one team from the Big Ten making it, as they only really have to play 2 games against each other, and then Penn State, and the rest of the conference is just absolute football garbage. There's not really anybody else this season to play, so it boils down to those 2 games. And when you look at the SEC, that you know 6 of the 9 games are absolute bloodbaths. You look at the Pac-12 that's had a monster season with all its teams on its last year. It should only get one team in, but you know a lot of people love Ohio State and they love Michigan, and they hate to see either one of them out. But the winner's definitely going to the Big Ten championship to go ahead and win that. Next game up on the slate, Texas A&M, LSU. Same thing on this particular game. There's one angle we like on this, and this deal with the total once again. LSU has been the best team in college football to the over all season long, so we're going to ride this one out for the last game of the season. LSU A&M over 14.5 total first quarter, over 33.5 total first half, and over 66 for the game. One more time, over 14.5 total first quarter, over 33.5 total first half, and over 66 for the game. Jaden Daniels and LSU offense been fantastic. Their defense has been god-awful, to say the least. Next game up, Kentucky-Louisville. Louisville, 7.5 point favorite at home. Total at 49.5. We don't like this particular matchup on this one here. Louisville is extremely hard to figure out as a team. Games that they shouldn't win, like I thought they should have got beat by Miami last week. They figure out a way to get it done. And teams they should smash, like Kentucky, they'll probably end up making this thing way too close. So we're going to stay away from this one here. Next game up, Navy SMU. We are involved in this game. This line has moved quite a bit so far this week. SMU has just got a much higher powered offense. Even if they allow Navy to score, which I'm sure they will, SMU's got offense for days. They've got playmakers on the outside. They've got running backs. They can throw the ball all over the yard. So we took SMU in this matchup, -4.5 first quarter, -10.5 first half, and we got it at 18 on Tuesday. So we went ahead and took that there. I know a lot of these times, especially in these college lines, you've got to get in early if you really like something before the movement. Now, I will say this. I'm not scared at 19.5 either. I'm comfortable until we get to 21. I think 21's kind of the number on that one there. But, I mean, if you like, I will put it to you this way. The one other thing we're probably going to look at, and make sure you check out the Google Sheets at the end of this episode, is the over in this game right now is like around 45.5, 46. I honestly think SMU can put up damn near that themselves. So if Navy contributes, should be a pretty comfortable over bet in that one. So, but we will give you SMU -4.5 first quarter, -10.5 first half, and -18 for the game on that particular matchup. Next game up is going to be Houston UCF. Welcome you two teams to the Big 12. UCF 14-point favorite, 60.5 total. Houston's been a hard one for me to figure out. They got shut out by K-State, and K-State does not have its usual fantastic defense, but they'll put up 50 points in other games. UCF, not a big defensive team. It tends to be a lot of overs in those particular matchups as well, but we are going to stay away from that particular matchup. Same thing with Pitt and Duke. Duke, 4.5-point favorite, total at 42. Not a lot of value in this game, as I think it ends somewhere between a field goal and a touchdown, between 3 and 6. So 4.5 basically split in the middle, don't do much for us on that one. And total wise, it's hard to tell if either one of these teams are interested in scoring that week. So we're going to stay away from that matchup. Troy, Southern Miss. Southern Miss, 17-point home dog against Troy. Troy's been a pretty damn good team this season. No question about it, but we're going to stay away from that one. Northern Illinois, Kent State. Northern Illinois finally plays on a Saturday rather than a Tuesday or Wednesday with MAC action. Northern Illinois, 19.5-point road favorite. I will tell you this, every time they've been a big favorite, not only have they not covered, they've lost. So we're going to stick away from that, as we believe Kent State might be one of the worst teams in the country. Indiana, Purdue. Purdue, 5-point home favorite, 54 total. If you love Big Ten football, that's a bunch of turnovers and nothing really exciting to watch, as it's very discombobulated, this is your game. Not for us on this one, so we're staying away from that one as well. Then we do get up to the Miami, Ohio game. Miami, Ohio, excuse me on this one, as we flip back and forth. Ball State, Miami, Ohio, currently a 4-point favorite in this one here. We love Miami of Ohio in this particular matchup here. I can't figure out why the line keeps going down. But we'll take it. I'm not going to sit there and argue about it too much, but the much better team than Ball State. Ball State at home, 4-point home dog, 35 total. We did take Miami of Ohio on this one. So we do have a Miami of Ohio -0.5 first quarter, -3.5 first half, and -4 for the game. Miami of Ohio one more time, -0.5 first quarter, -3.5 first half, and -4 for the game. Next game up for us, Middleton, or on the slate, I should see, Middle Tennessee versus Sam Houston. Sam Houston, 3-point home dog, total of 51. Battle of two teams. Middle Tennessee can sling the ball a little bit here and there, but Sam Houston is, ugh. That same thing we can say about the next game, which is UConn against UMass. UMass, a 2-point. Hold on a second. UConn is favored. That's how bad UMass is. 2-point road favorite, 52 total. No thanks. We got better things to do with our time than spend any time on this particular game at all. Sometimes I don't have a bad time. Sometimes betting on bad football teams is not necessarily a non-profitable thing, but there are some real bad teams in college football this year. This is two of the worst, and I just don't necessarily want to match it. Now, if there was a total for how many turnovers at 5.5, I'd probably take the over. Florida Atlantic, Rice. Rice, 4-point home favorite, 49 total. We're going to stay away from this matchup as well. Same thing with UAB and North Texas. North Texas can't stop anybody, but I'm sure they'll be able to stop UAB. 2-point home favorite, 73.5 total. Wake Forest, Syracuse. Syracuse, 2.5-point home favorite, 43.5 total. We were going to be on Syracuse on this game. until I saw all this money coming into the books on Syracuse, which led us to vacate the premises on that one there. Tulsa, East Carolina. East Carolina, 3-point home favorite, 44.5 total. We have nothing on this matchup either. Let's see. Then we get into Georgia State, Old Dominion. Old Dominion with a nice cover last week. 2.5-point home favorite, 53 total. We're not on this one. Colorado, Utah. This line's come down from 22 to 21. Utah at home, 21-point favorite, 48 total. Last game for Dion this season is they're going to probably finish with four wins, crushed all of our dreams at the under 3.5. Still a great season for Colorado. 4 wins with that team that he took over, and they had 90 people in and out. I think he'll be great there, no question about it. It's going to take next year, year after, even with the transfer portal. I think it's really going to take a couple years. The question is can he get the big hog molly, so to speak, the big linemen? That's going to be the difference. If he can recruit linemen to that school, because we know he's going to be able to recruit skill position players, cornerbacks, things of that nature. We know he can recruit those guys. Question: if he can recruit linemen, he will have a national power in Colorado. That it's simply enough. That's going to be the determining factor. If he can get the big dudes that protect on both sides of the ball, that either protect the quarterback or go after the quarterback, they definitely could be a national power there in the near future. San Jose State, UNLV, we're not on this particular matchup. I will say this, San Jose State has been a cover machine as of late, and then UNLV has been all season long, so it should be interesting as UNLV is a 2.5-point home favorite, 59.5 total, to see who comes out on that particular matchup there. But we do not have anything there. Same thing with ULM, Louisiana Lafayette, and Western Kentucky FIU, nothing on those. We do have 1:30 here, so 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern. We have definitely a lot of games in this window here. So Arizona State, Battle of Arizona, obviously. Arizona has played fantastic all season long. They have an outside shot of making the Pac-12 championship if Oregon loses Oregon State. Don't foresee that one happening. But Arizona's been great all year long. Chance for a 10-win season. But we don't think they're going to cover in this battle today. So I should say this battle on Saturday. It's been somewhere between 10.5 and 11.5 has been the line on this particular matchup. We did get ASU at the 11.5, and we have them plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, and plus 11.5 for the game. One more time in that ASU game. U of A against ASU plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, and plus 11.5 for the game. Next game up, Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. This line is also moved. It's moved from 14.5 to 13.5. We loved Auburn at the 14.5 and couldn't resist them there. So we did take Auburn plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 7.5 first half, and plus 14.5 for the game. Normally when this game's played at Auburn, this game is extremely tight. I don't expect Auburn to win. I do expect them to keep it within 10. That's kind of where our thoughts are on that particular game. I mean, there is an outside chance that they win this game, so they are a live dog, so to speak. Alabama's been fantastic, but it would not shock me if this game is 13-10 for a final. Where there's not a lot of scoring on either side. So that's why we like Auburn here. The line tends to move against, catch it in as quickly as you can. I'll put it to you that way. Auburn plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 7.5 first half, and plus 14.5 for the game. If you like Alabama here, you might want to wait till closer to game time, as you might get this thing down to 13 or maybe even a little bit less on that one there. So that's the Iron Bowl for Alabama, Auburn, BYU, Oklahoma State. Okie State, 16.5-point favorite at Stillwater against BYU, 56 total. We're not on this particular matchup. If we had a lean, though, it would be Okie State, as BYU has not been good on the road whatsoever. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. Tennessee, 27-point home favorite, 57.5 total. They've been deadly at home and against bad teams. We're not playing this matchup, but if we had a lean, Tennessee would be the play. James Madison, Coastal Carolina. James Madison, 9-point road favorite against Coastal Carolina, 50.5 total. After James Madison gets beat last week, ruins the perfect season. I'm not sure if they're interested or not. There's no bowl game for them as the NCAA came down on that side, but it should be an interesting one to see if James Madison can finish it up. The next one at the 1:30 Arizona time, 12:30 West, 3:30 East, Liberty UTEP. This line's been between 16 and 17 points. Liberty's been a fantastic team all season long. Now, they've struggled in some covers as of late, as they were a fantastic cover team early, as the book undervalued them. UTEP has been UTEP. That's about the best way they're not extremely enjoyable to watch, right? So on that one there, but this is strictly going with the book, as there's so much money on the Liberty side of this play. We're going with UTEP. We'll roll with the book on this one. They don't miss often. UTEP plus 4.5 first quarter, plus 9.5 first half, plus 16.5 for the game. One more time, UTEP plus 4.5 first quarter, plus 9.5 first half, and plus 16.5 for the game. Next game up, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Yuck. With Minnesota, 2.5-point home dog, 43.5 total. We're staying away from that one. Same thing with Northwestern, Illinois. Illinois, 5.5-point favorite, 48 total. In Champaign, we're out on that one. Georgia Southern, Appalachian State. App State, 10-point home favorite, 63 total. We actually like watching Georgia Southern this year. We're not playing this particular matchup, as App State's defense is better than I think most people realize, so we're staying away from that matchup. Next one we are on, that's going to be Maryland Rutgers, same time slot. Rutgers, 1.5-point home dog, 44.5 total. Rutgers has had a couple of embarrassments. They were shut out by Iowa, haven't played well as of late. I think this is their bounce-back game. And this is one of those games, again, we're riding with the book because there's way too much money on Maryland when Maryland is not a good team itself. So Rutgers plus 0.5 first quarter, plus 1.5 first half. Rutgers plus 2.5 for the game. So one more time, Rutgers plus 0.5 first quarter, plus 1.5 first half, and plus 2.5 for the game. That line's been anywhere between 1.5, and there's a lot of 2.5 still out there. So if you like Rutgers, hop on those 2.5s. Virginia Tech, Virginia. Battle of the Virginias, right? We're not gonna touch this one. Virginia, 2.5-point home dog, 53 total. Same thing with Arkansas State, Marshall. Marshall, 2-point home favorite, 52.5 total. Then we get into the 2 o'clock out here time slot, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 Eastern. Washington State, Washington. We've loved to watch Washington this year. Now, they have struggled to cover in some games. I thought they had a great game in the rain against Oregon State. But we are not going to be on this matchup, as we think 15.5 is too high to take Washington. And there's been a lot of money on Washington State because they have played well against the putzes, so to speak, as of late. But we're not going to touch this one. The next game up, though, we are going to touch and we are going to hammer, and this is going to be our best bet for college football Saturday. Jacksonville State at New Mexico State. This line has moved from basically pick 'em to 3. New Mexico State coming off their huge win over Auburn. Big upset win. What happens normally after that is called the letdown game. Jacksonville State's going to be there to kind of scoop that one up. They are a better team on paper, I think, overall as well. We did grab this game at Jacksonville State at the 1.5, but I still like him at 3. I think they're going to win by a touchdown plus here. Jacksonville State, first quarter money line. Jacksonville State, first half money line, and then we got him at minus 1.5 for the game. I would probably recommend buying the 3 down to 2.5, just in case something stupid happens and they only win by a field goal. But we love Jacksonville State. One more time, first quarter money line, first half money line, and minus 1.5 for the game. Next game up, Florida State, Florida. Backup quarterbacks. I don't believe Graham Mertz is playing either. I could be mistaken on that one. 5 o'clock out here, 4 o'clock in the West, 7 o'clock Eastern game. Don't want anything to do with the battle of the backup QBs, so we'll stick away that one. Florida, 6.5-point home dog, 49 total. Notre Dame, Stanford. Notre Dame, 26-point favorite against Stanford. I don't know which Stanford's going to show up. If it's the one against Colorado, I'd love to take the 26 points, but the rest of the season has been an absolute disaster, so we'll stay away from that one as well. West Virginia, Baylor. We are on this particular matchup here. We did get... I'll put this there. I understand people betting on teams that seem like it's a big discrepancy. Baylor's not been good this year, but is West Virginia really that dominant where the line goes from 9.5 to 11.5 points? And there's a ton of money rolling on West Virginia. That's another one of the book plays. We're going to stick with the book on this one as well, as it normally pays off for us long term, especially. So Baylor plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, and plus 11.5 for the game. One more time, Baylor plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, plus 11.5 for the game. Next game up, South Alabama, Texas State. Texas State, a 6-point home dog, 58 total. We're not staying on that one. Next game up after that, or we're not touching that one, I should say. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, somewhere around 23.5 to 24.5 point home dog, 60-point total. Georgia has been so good against the good teams, but they have been so bad at covering against the bad teams. Georgia Tech is not a good team, and they're probably going to be a lot closer to that bad team mark. And when 90% of the money's coming in on one team, the rule of thumb is just bet with the book. Even though everything in your body tells you to bet Georgia here, play Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech plus 6.5 first quarter at plus money, plus 13.5 first half, plus 24.5 for the game. One more time, Georgia Tech plus 6.5 first quarter, plus 13.5 first half, and plus 24.5 for the game. Next game up, Clemson, South Carolina. We're still on our Dabo Swinney ban, so we will not be playing this one. South Carolina, 7.5 point home dog, 49 total. Kansas, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, 7-point home dog, 58 total. I understand about how good Kansas has been so far this season. I also understand about how bad Cincinnati has been this season. Does it just seem weird that it's 7? And not only that, everybody and their grandmother's been betting Kansas, so we're going to go with Cincinnati on this one here. Like I said, I'm kind of shocked that everybody's kind of falling. There's definitely some trap games this week, and this is definitely part of the trap mix. So we'll take Cincinnati plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, and plus 7.5 for the game. One more time, Cincinnati plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, and plus 7.5 for the game. Next game up is Charlotte, South Florida. We're still on our Charlotte ban of not betting them, but South Florida, 6.5 point home favorite, 57 total. We'll stay away from that one. We're also staying away from Iowa State, Kansas State. Even though being an alum at Iowa State, we're going to stick away from that, even though they're getting 10 in Manhattan. Just staying away from that one. North Carolina State, 2.5 point home dog for NC State, 55 total. We do not have anything there, as we think that one's going to be a tight one. Next game up, though, we are on Wyoming, Nevada. Wyoming minus 11-point road favorite at Nevada. Now, I will tell you this. If you've watched Nevada football this year, I am sorry. It has been absolutely horrific. Trust me, we've bet against them most of the season, right, and made quite a bit of money on it. I will tell you this. Wyoming on the road they're not half as good as they are at home. This is why we're on Nevada here. And Wyoming, once again, is one of those it's also a book play because a ton of money's rolling in on Wyoming, as they always seem to cover these 13.5 point spreads at home. But when they go on the road, they suck. And we're going to play that here today. So Nevada plus 2.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, plus 11 for the game. One more time, Nevada plus 2.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, and plus 11 for the game on that one there. Then we'll go back to see the next game on the slate is actually going to be Cal versus UCLA. UCLA 9-point home favorite, 51 total. They beat USC last week. Rumor is Chip Kelly's on the way out. I don't know if they're going to have anything left for California, but we're not going to play this particular matchup at the 51 total or UCLA given 9. Next game up, Fresno State at San Diego State. San Diego State, 5.5 point home dog, 46.5 total. Fresno State, much better team here, in my opinion. If we were going to play this game, which we're not on, we would definitely ride the Fresno State train. It's just been a little difficult. Quarterback's dinged up, yada, yada, yada. Is not a lot of confidence in that one there. We are confident in the last game of the day, and we're going to take the home dog, Colorado State at Hawaii, 54 total, 5.5 point home dog for Hawaii. on paper, I think Hawaii's got a better power ranking personally, so I'm not quite sure what the 5.5 is for, but we'll take the 5.5 points, put them in our pocket, and say thank you. So Hawaii plus a half first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, and plus 5.5 for the game. One more time, Hawaii plus a half first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, and plus 5.5 for the game. So that'll wrap up what we've got so far for college football week 13. Do make sure at the end of this episode, you will see a link in the comment section to the Google Sheets. It'll say docs.google and a bunch of other stuff after it. You click on that link, that'll get into all of our bets, what juice we got them at, how many units, and then also what book we placed those at. So do make sure you check that out when you get some time. Well worth it. You can see it's our ledger for the whole season this week. You can also look at, so there's 4 sheets in there currently. We'll show football last year. We'll show baseball that just ended earlier in November this year. And then also basketball that's going on this year. And then obviously the football bets. So if you just bet football, there'll be college football week 13. Also NFL week 12 will be there as well with the Thursday and Friday games. And then heading into the weekend. There's a lot of those bets are coming out pretty slow for the NFL. So if you're just looking at football, I do apologize. A lot of times by this time we'd have a pretty full roster of bets, but they're coming out a little soft on that end. So just stay patient with us. Those Google Sheets will definitely help you out. As soon as we make the bet, we add it to the sheet. It's as simple as that, right? So sometimes not having to wait for the video or the episode. And we'll be out tomorrow with the NFL episode at some point. We just want to get as many of our bets in on the episode as we can, rather than here's our skeleton of bets and make sure you check the sheet for the 90% of them. We don't want to do that. We want to try to get most of those in. So make sure you do check those out on the Google Sheets, especially if you want to look at basketball for tonight, tomorrow. Basketball and baseball tend to be day of bets. Football, we normally can go a little bit ahead. But if you bet all kinds of sports, basketball and baseball are normally day of, because we bet a lot of player props, then those normally aren't available till day of. And as always, if you can subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop our bets, you get those first, especially when you subscribe and you turn those notifications on. It makes life so simple, as you'll get a notification to your phone or your device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped some more bets and you need to go check those out. So that way it gives you plenty of time to match them up with your bets and give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. We like to get this done early, so we're not trying to scram them in all at the last 5 seconds. And then guess what? The book's closed, not taking the bet. The game's already started. And then we got to look at live lines, and hopefully the other team doesn't score in 30 seconds or less. Then we get kind of hosed behind the 8 ball, and we can't make the play we wanted to play all along. So getting those early and putting them in early, and then you don't have to worry about what the line does. We do appreciate everybody's support, as always, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.